70 years since independence, India has tried its hand at promoting tourism with mixed results. But in the last year and a half, things are changing. And one of the things that we see changing is the arrival of a whole new breed of policy makers and decision makers in Indian tourism. I'm going to introduce you today to a tourism minister of one of the major states of India, who's actually bringing a completely new paradigm to tourism, whether it is in the policies that he sets, whether it's in the initiatives that he takes, or it's in the method of promoting tourism. Mr. Priyank Kharge, the young, dynamic tourism minister of the state government of Karnataka. So Priyank, tell me, what kind of a traveler are you?
I would say I'm a very inquisitive traveler.
Okay.
The reason being that I like to explore things on foot. I love to see a city by myself. I love to get to know the history of the city. How the city was built is quite interesting for me. I spend a lot of time in museums. I spend a lot of time knowing the actual culture of the city. So what interests me and intrigues me is the city itself.
When you bring that kind of a curiosity to bear on something like when you travel in India, have you found places where your curiosity has made you discover something quite different from what is well known, for example?
So all you need to do is not go by the brochure, sit down with the local and ask him or her what exactly makes this village tick, what is it that I can go see, and you will find that there are so many untold stories that is waiting for you to hear.
Yeah, tell me one of the stories. Tell me any story that you would have come across,
When I became an MLA, I actually got to know the true history and heritage of the constituency, I would say. So, do you believe we have 4,000 years of Buddhist history lying in Kalburgi?
Wow, okay.
We have something like the Nagavi University, which was as good as Nalanda. Apparently, Nalanda and Nagavi universities were twin university concept. There is a very interesting village in my constituency where the entire village is inside the fort.
Okay.
It's inside a fort, just like we thought it would happen. We see it only in Rajasthan and Jaipur and some places like that. But it's right there in my backyard and I didn't know about it. So these things you get to know only when you speak to the local.
And I think one thing you mentioned, which is the word that I picked up, is storytelling. Because this is about not just places, right? It's about what goes behind the place and the stories that you can communicate, and how do you communicate?
So the reason why I said storytelling is because that's the only way you can attract a tourist. So if I tell a tourist, chalo bhai, come and see the High Court, which is very beautiful, but there should be a story woven around it. Do you know that Bangalore turns 480 years this November? And we haven't told the Bangalore story. Yeah. So a lot of people still think we are just we have a story. So we are the pensioners. We were the pensioners' paradise. We are the lake city. We were the garden city. Now we are the pub city. We became the science city. We became the skill city. Now we are the startup city. So we have abundant stories to tell only in Bangalore.
And completely unrelated, but which is your favorite place in India to go on a holiday?
Like I said, I'm a very inquisitive chap. So what I might learn here, I might unlearn things there. Right. So I really don't have a particular destination. So I love the hills as much as I love the beaches. I love the beaches as much as I love my village. So I love to constantly learn. If you're willing to learn, then nothing is boring for you.
And of course, when you travel outside Karnataka, right? I mean, you were in Paris recently. So do you get time to sort of explore? Are you able to keep away?
No, so of course, since I'm out on work, that becomes our priority first, because these opportunities are not got time and again, and it's a government engagement. So, but we do try to make some time to explore and experience a city, so that there are certain policies, there are certain practices that I can ensure is implemented back home as well. So when I was in Paris recently, like once we finished with our appointment, me and my team, all of us walked Paris. I think we walked for close to around 24 kilometers in a day. Okay. I mean, so we went everywhere by foot. The reason is so that we understand things. Yeah. What kind of blocks are they using? What kind of materials are they using? What kind of circuits have they designed? And how feasible is it? Is it a walking circuit? Is it a cycling circuit? Or do we have to really take the bus, the tourist bus for that? So the best way to explore any city or any town is by foot. That's the thing. Yeah.
So in the last segment, I talked to the minister, Mr. Priyank Kharge, about what it means to be a traveler. In this segment today, I'm actually going to talk about Mr. Priyank Kharge, the Tourism Minister of Karnataka. How the transition from being a traveler to a minister, and that to the Minister of Tourism, has actually played out for him. You've now been in the saddle for slightly less than 3 months.
True.
So how has it been for you? What's been the journey?
It's chaotic, but it's fun because it's we are trying to do things like never before. I've kept only two things for my team to understand is how do we experience Karnataka better? How do we explore Karnataka better?
So tell me, so this represents, as far as I'm concerned, in a sense, the deep heritage from where the state comes, right? And to me, this represents actually the modernity that we are talking about. So tell me how you plan to sort of bring both into tourism, the old and the new.
So this is what I'm talking about. The idea is how do I blend this in? And we are blending it fine. I don't know if you've heard of what Pandit Nehru had said when he had come to Bangalore for inauguration of Indian Institute of Science, if I'm not mistaken. So he had said that amongst all the great cities in India, Bengaluru is the only city, which reflects on the future. And how true he was.
He was true, yeah.
See, he spoke this in 1950s. And today we are this thing without giving any of our past away, but we are treading towards the modernity.
That brings me to my final sort of question on that part of your work, which is really, as a tourism minister, we have great hopes as Holiday IQ because we represent the traveler community in India. But tell us, from your perspective, what is the expectation?
My job is to protect the ecosystem completely. Right. So if I protect the bottom of the pyramid, that is the last man, that's the traveler, the ecosystem survives.
Exactly.
During my tenure at least, be rest assured we'll hear a lot from the travelers as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. And on behalf of the travelers, want to wish you all the best in your term. And we look forward to a lot of exciting stuff. And I personally, of course, I'm keenly watching. I'm happy to support wherever we can.
Thanks a lot.
Right.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you.